I'm putting the two-stroke performance head on.
Oh, okay. Is that an XC or a W?
Right, this is the TSP head, and then they have like inserts as well.
Oh, okay.
So I have a low compression and a medium insert.
Right.
So it's all just a billet head.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's exciting.
Cool.
With the refresh at the same time.
Cool.
Yeah, dirt bikes are really actually affordable in the motorsports world.
Especially the KTM as well. A lot of guys think they're way ahead of your other guys, you know, expensive, but not that bad.
No, I mean you could buy a YZ250X and you're going to change the piston more often probably. But you know, I mean they even come with actually another piston kit, which is funny when you buy them brand new. Yeah, but as I've done in a review, I don't know if you saw it, I did a comparison on my buddy's 250X. We'd switch bikes a bunch of times. And it's like, yeah, you're paying an extra like $2,500 for this bike,
yeah.
But so you're paying that for the electric start.
Exactly.
You're paying and the 6-speed transmission.
Yeah. You get good suspension.
And on the only, for me, the biggest downside for the KTM is versus the Yamaha is the suspension. So I would get the XCW, yeah, and not get the XC with the air fork. Off trail. Oh. Shit. Oh my god. I lost Colin too. Shit. I'm okay guys, I hit my head. I would get the XCW and then you do a little revalve for $300 versus a spring conversion is $1,500. I'm just like, I'm gonna get the Öhlins forks, right? So that's what I tell people when I have like, my friend TJ, he might be coming and buying, I told him just get an XCW, you know, and then, you know, ride it until you actually need to do some refresh, and then, you know, once he gets his skills down. And the most important thing is your rad guard protection right off the bat. That's and a skid plate maybe. Yeah, it'll be good. Anyways, TJ, hope you're watching. All right, we're getting closer now to actually pull off the head. How many refresh kits or rebuilds on these KTMs do you think you've done on the TPIs?
Probably do it with my eyes closed already.
How many, like? Lots. Like maybe like 50 or more?
Nah, not 50. Maybe like 30 or something like that.
Yeah.
You get quite a fair share there.
Yeah, so it becomes more, it's just like, yeah, you just kind of go at it.
TPI and the carburetor one, they're basically the same.
Just the initial.
It's just a...
One of the terrible things is like, I hate this cap, huh?
Yep.
You pull the cap off and the dirt is just right up to this.
Right up there.
Right up.
Yeah.
So you can see what I do. I take hockey tape and wrap the whole bottom. So when I take it off, the only thing there is residual from the tape.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or some people like use like the donuts from your grip donuts and put them over it. You know, obviously that company makes a cover too. Some people have made some custom covers.
And have you replaced your oil pump on this thing yet?
No, I have not. And I've been so that's the other thing.
To do it, you know, when it fails, it's not gonna be good.
Now, what in terms of the oil pump, I have made sure that I'd get no dirt or contaminants in the whole system, including the fuel. I even have the fuel condom sock in the tank. You know, to avoid doing those labors, what I think in my mind is if I can keep the system completely clean. Because, you know, I've seen people on the trail, they'll just take the cap off on the trail.
Dirt falls in there.
And I'm like, I would power wash that thing before I take that cap off, you know, and clean it. So, you know, yeah. So yeah, in terms of also the filter in the fuel pump filter.
Yep, you've done that.
No,
not yet.
No. Again, I think that stuff will be pretty good as long as you keep the dirt out. Because I'd rather ride than work. And, you know, of course, we've all read on the forums, like, you know, a lot of people like, oh, 300-400 hours on the same oil pump. It's just...
So that's pretty clean. It burns, it means the bike's burning pretty nice. A lot of carbon buildup there.
Yeah, and that's why I specifically went for a ride after I cleaned it with the AMSOIL Powerfoam, just to make sure we're getting.
That's all clean, yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
because I didn't want the Powerfoam to be the last thing ran through there, because that would clean up that as well.
Oh, it will clean this up, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, that's good to know. Not all carbon covered, guys.
Not bad at all for that amount of hours.
Wow. Yeah, you're still, you know, it's not hard. It looks like it would come off pretty easily.
Yeah.
And what I mean, guys, is the carbon buildup on the piston. Oh, think I still see the honing marks in there from this angle.
Yep, you can still
The
see
cross
honing
hatching.
mark, yep. That's a good sign. No marks, no score marks.
Well, there might be some at the top of this back angle, for what I'm looking at.
Yeah, sometimes you get a little bit on this side here.
Yeah.
Obviously, the piston rocks forward and back, you know, so you don't get a lot of marks on the outside of this, on the side of the cylinder, but you get front and back. You get a bit of.
Yeah, I read about that for sure. It's just the way to the design of the whole,
just the way it
the
works.
symmetry of it. Well, we'll see a closer look, but yeah. Once we
So
get
far,
the
so
piston,
good.
once we get the piston out of there, and do some measurements. Man, I cleaned this thing so much, but there's so much dirt left on it.
We'll clean it good in the.
Because that pipe was in the way. I should have taken the two-stroke pipe off and then washed it.
Guys, as soon as they see the tubeless system or moose system,
Yeah.
they don't want to touch it, but
Yeah.
it's pretty simple.
So, I mean, I've done a few tubelesses. I did the tubeless in my front by myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it was a lot of work
It's
the
a
very
lot of
first
work.
time. The very first time. Now, once you get the technique, you know, and then I've replaced the inner 100 PSI tube
Yep.
twice.
lot of work.
You know, it's, yeah.
to get it all sealed up good. And
But now I got the hang of, and every single time I have a flat on the trail, I use my little tire
just
worm,
plug it. There you
and
go.
I'm on my way, and I use the little hand pump. It's freaking awesome. And so I always run 9.5 in the front and 5 to 6 in the rear, and that's how I ride all the time.
And obviously, you got to check it every night on these tubeless systems.
Yeah, that's the annoying part. I always, every ride I'll go put 105 PSI in. And then of course, of course check the other air pressure as well, depending on the conditions and the tire. But that 5-6 PSI is brilliant. You have so much traction with a bald tire.
Yeah, and you got a hood lock on this, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, so on speaking of tires, guys, I really like which one was it? The 70, oh yeah, 754 green. And then I run that Bridgestone, is it the M16, like the 20-year-old tire. I don't think it's changed in all those years. I really like the front. It seems to last pretty good.
It's got your rad protector in the way a little bit. This
Oh,
little mounting bracket.
Oh yeah, the bracket behind the way.
It's catching a little bit.
I can tell you that's really hard to access that normally. Yeah, that bracket is like, you know, that's a pain to put on too.
Yeah, it's a little bit in the way.
But it's a lot easier when the head's out of the way. Yeah, so these are Irnieracing rad guards, and you can see my radiators are in perfect condition. It's just a nice, and it's got a cross brace in the front and then a little one in the back. So if you just put those little billet ones on, there's still no connecting, so they can still crush in or move the whole system. And of course, you drop the piston already down.
Yep.
Moving the rear tire. Yeah, just to give yourself some clearance. There we go.
cover this up.
Oh yeah, you don't want to drop those wrist pins in
You
there.
don't want to drop that in.
We've all read about that nightmare.
Good.
Now the question is there any movement after in the bottom end?
That's
the big one.
That's the big one. We're going to see if we're going to spend the whole day here.
Because essentially, if the bottom end is moving, you have slop.
Yeah, and if you refresh it with a piston, all the compression again, if you've got a little bit of play on that rod, and you put a compression, a piston in again, your compression's up a little bit, you put a lot of strain on the rod, and then a couple of hours it's gonna blow up. Not bad.
The sleeve.
No grooves or anything. That's normal wear and tear.
Yeah, well, essentially discoloration.
That's
but
normal
not
wear and
actual
tear.
physical. You can't physically feel anything. No. Maybe just the slightest bit of feel on that one of my nail. And what do we got on the piston?
Yeah, you got a bit of wear, obviously, for the hours you did on it.
Again, 239
But-
hours.
It's not bad. Definitely worked hard.
Can you explain what the shininess means to you?
So that's where the piston, like I said earlier on, when it comes up, you get that's where all the forces as it comes down. So you always get more wear on the sides here.
on the back side
On the
and
back
the front.
side and the front, you can actually see that there.
Yeah, the shine. So that's
Yeah.
actually on the piston
Yep.
cylinder wall.
That's it. So you got your one intake, and then obviously on the wall itself where your power valves go. So you always get a bit of more wear on the side than on the front and then the side here. So
What else are you looking for?
well, basically on this one, just make sure there's no seizure marks.
Yeah, scrape marks.
Nothing's broken off. Yeah, and then we'll measure the ring gap on it. See what that says, and then yeah, used well.
Now, did I cause myself any future headaches by not changing it at 180 hours or instead of 240 or in your thought process?
Well, depends. I mean, it's not bad. It doesn't look bad or anything. But I mean, you might lose a little bit of compression and all that stuff. Your fueling can change
over the hours.
if you leave it longer than that. Yeah.
I guess the biggest concern of going longer is damaging the cylinder.
as well. Yeah. So you don't want to go too long because the piston might damage the cylinder, and then it's going to cost you more money for Nicosol.
Yeah, to replate it.
Takes like 4 weeks and more money.
Downtime.
So,
Yeah.
so it's better to do it before it damages that. Yeah, I mean, it's still pretty good. You can see your own marks, no nicks in it.
Yeah, the original
Normally where the Nicosol comes off, if it's got a lot of wear, it's on the ports here. And yours looks pretty good there. So
I'm going to turn a flashlight on. There we go.
yeah.
I can see all the X's now. It's the honing marks.
Yeah, that's
Can you
good.
rotate it for the camera here? Yeah,
Yeah.
we get different sides. Yeah, that's the only little like discoloration on that side.
Yeah,
And again, that's the backside rear of the machine.
that's it. Not bad at all.
But I didn't have any loss of power that I could feel.
No, you
In
weren't.
fact, it kept getting better when I put the new flash in, but because the piston rings were still sealing.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, not bad at all.
Sorry?
Even the power valves, normally these are all gunked up, and yours is pretty clean.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know. I've seen video pictures. They're super dirty usually.
Yeah.
Pulling the rings off.
Yeah, so what we can do now is check the ring gap, and then it tells you if it's out of spec or in spec. And the maximum it should be, it's 0.060 millimeters, and
Okay.
that's the max. Then you know, okay, it's time to replace it.
Once you push it in the cylinder.
Yeah, then we'll use the piston, push it down, because you don't want to go on top here, because the rings never touches the top here. You always get that little gap there.
Yeah, that's right. Around
So you don't want to
5 millimeter gap.
exactly.
Of course, when you take it out, you don't want to stretch it either.
Exactly. Come on.
You push it down a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit down. And then so that's 0.60. Let's go a little down. So far you're still in spec.
Because that's the maximum, yeah.
That's the maximum it should be. If that fuel
So
gauge,
we're going to see what it is now.
yeah. And about there. What are we sitting at here? 0.50.
And
So
that's what it
still,
felt like? Yeah.
Still in spec.
What is normally the smallest ones you would see on a used engine or used?
Around about 0.45.
Okay, so we're just in the middle range right now.
You're in the middle range, yeah. So yeah, you probably could have got more out of the piston, yeah. So good.
So let's have Aubrey repeat that. I did 239 hours. Hey guys, hope I didn't scare ya, or I hope I did. I could have done another 25 and not been a huge deal.
Easy. You
Another
got
50 maybe.
Maybe even a 50, yeah, 100%.
Ooh, you got pinched between the escaper. Yeah. Kind of like the piston Corey showed us, or showed me at 300 hours. Exactly. That would be another, well, that would be another 60 hours.
Yeah, easy. You would have got that out of this thing, no problem.
Wow, and probably not have any issues with the scoring. It would, because with my using my products and the way I rode.
Exactly. You know, the type of oil you use, air filters, a lot of crucial as well.
Yeah.
Suck anything past there, it's gonna cause damage.
And not just clean air filter, but when you clean the air filter, don't drop oil, don't drop dirt in there.
Exactly, and then obviously oil it good.
So I actually personally didn't clean the air filter or replace the air filter as often as I do now, because now I got a good system in cleaning it. But now I have 5 air filters. You clean all 5 and you rotate them. But like some people say, it's like actually a lot of people when they don't clean the box and then you take the air filter off and then it's kind of like sometimes the more you clean, you actually create problems if you're not clean about it.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta clean it out nice, your airbox in any case.
And I even bought one of those things you lock in there and you can power wash the box, like the cover locks.
Yeah, when you do a pressure wash on your bike.
Yeah, it's like an air filter with the attachments that locks down. Cool.
So, not bad at all. All the low compression is always good for climbing stuff.
Yeah, well, I just getting traction.
Exactly. Low, you don't want high compression, you want low compression, just climbing the hills, and that's it.
Yeah. Standing up, knees into the seat, and I'll do a stand-up wheelie, maybe. There we go. Yeah guys, TSP head, low compression, totally a winner. I'm so happy I did this. To enjoy your day is to not ruin your day. And that's what the low end will do, right?
Just doing a bit of inspection, make sure everything else is in spec here. Have you ever adjusted your power valve?
No. Oh yes, okay, sorry.
On the side,
yes, I have definitely adjusted the power valve. I run it, 2.5 millimeters from flush, or when normally it's like way in. So I've turned it out 3 or 4 turns, and it runs way better once I did that. It actually gives you a mid-range and a low end. I'd have to look at my notes. Yeah, it was a certain, I'd measure it from flush essentially, how much it's in or out. Because you lose track of how many turns you've done if you play with it a lot. That's what I tell everybody. When you first get your KTM, make sure you measure it.
Measure it before
Don't
you-
just count your turns. Because then I would go back and forth to try to feel the difference.
You don't know where you got to get a starting point.
Yeah, but I didn't measure it right off the bat
Yes.
in terms of with the micrometer.
So basically, I'm just checking your height of your piston flap, your power valve flap, because that's actually adjustable as well.
Yeah.
You got a stop on that side, a little stop there, so that will actually tell you how far to go down and stop. So that's even adjustable as well. So you got your main exhaust port here.
Yeah, and
You
it
got-
looks, I mean,
you
it's
got two-
super clean, like you
It's
said.
super clean, and then you got two little ports on the side. So as soon as it opens up, you got your center port going open, and you got another two ports on the side opening. And that's where all your power comes in there.
Well, essentially, to take it apart and clean it just a little, in terms of it's a little dirty, you know, how much more time are we talking to do that?
Well, you're probably looking at another hour to take all that out, clean it, reseal it, put it back.
Yeah, then I would say probably, well, I'd go by your opinion. Either way, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, well, personally, I normally like to take it out, clean it, inspect it, clean it, put it back, and you know it's all clean and good, and nothing else is damaged in there.
Well, if you have the time and you recommend it, then we can do it.
I'd rather check it out.
Yeah. Even though this one's looking a lot better than most.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I get a lot that's all just
But
clogged
again,
up.
we're already here.
So yeah, I would do it.
It's all about having a good time on the trail later.
That's it. Get it all cleaned up. Could put a little bit on the power.
Oh, on that
wire
side
wheel.
there's more, yeah.
Yeah. And see, as soon as it gets gunk up, it's a very tight fit. There's not a lot of give, you know. So if it just gunks up a little bit,
That's why you want to check it.
That's why you got to check it. Then obviously
Yeah.
there a little bit there.
That side.
See that side there?
Oh, wow. And that's why it's very important to try to keep it clean in the first place as well.
Exactly. And if we left this, it will obviously
Continue
clog
to
up,
build, 'cause-
continue, and then you'll have problems. And we got to strip all of this again.
Yeah, because even the AMSOIL or the cleaner is just not able
It's
to
not
get
gonna
it all
in.
out.
No, because this is behind the whole power valve, you know. So you're not
So
gonna,
by spraying it down the cylinder while it's running, it's just not getting
it's not
in
going to
there.
get on the sides.
No, pull the power valve. There you go.
Clean it.
We're learning a lot here on this video. Third gear. Normally always use second